Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of It's Not Only Football Friday Night Lights and Beyond. Today, we are covering Season 2, Episode 3. Are you ready for Friday night?
Billy gets Riggo's sloppy seconds. Coach gets jealous of Glenn's hands and Tammy's icebox. Apparently, the Swede kisses as loud as Street. Saracen takes out all his frustration on Smash, and Street and Timmy set out on a road trip.
What is up, everybody? Welcome in on another Thursday morning, bright and early. We are so excited to talk about Season 2 further. Last week, we chatted with Jesse Plemons and had a little interview/recap of Episode 2. A lot of moving pieces in the beginning of Season 3 here. A lot of new characters that we haven't even really had a chance to cover yet. Today, we will try to do just that. This episode was written by Carrie Aaron. Wrote a ton of Season 1, and it was directed by a new director, Seth Mann, who wrote and directed a film that I actually really liked, The Breaks. That was a VH1 film about the hip-hop scene in the early 90s.
He was one of my favorite directors, and he never came back.
No, he did. Season 4, he came back.
Oh, did he?
But you were gone.
Oh, right. I got fired. He got hired.
He also was an executive producer and director on The Right One In or Raising Dion. Nurse Jackie, Walking Dead. He directed episodes on that. So I
see his name pop up on TV and cool stuff all the time. I'm like, man, I miss that guy. Hire me, Seth.
Yeah, come on, brother. Let's work together again. This episode, if it was not only football, for me, was something we haven't talked about yet. In Season 2, we got a brand new title sequence, and it's pretty rad, man. You see them, like, putting up the 2006 Texas State champion sign on the... See, here's the thing. You guys skipped
I had skipped... Why would I watch the opening credits?
Exactly. Here's the thing. So many people watching on streaming services, they just miss this awesome new credit sequence. You know, you see the game-winning touchdown of the state championship. You see some quad rugby. You see all the happy faces of all the characters at the end of Season 1. Oh, and little did they know, little did all those characters know in the title
Landry
sequence.
was going to murder someone.
What darkness might
that's
come.
That's a very specific thing too. I feel like are you the type of person who watches the theme every time or who skips through it? Like my boyfriend loves to watch. He insists on watching the entire Succession theme song every time, and I'm like, look, I love this song, but I don't need. He's like, it pumps me up, and I'm I don't
dare
need
skip it. Don't you dare skip that.
Oh, my
Bro,
God,
it's
skip
so long,
it.
and I'm like, I'm trying to, I know what it is. I love it. I feel it. I hear that little tingle, and I'm like, great. And then I'm ready to move on.
I think the only opening credits worth watching...
Sopranos, maybe.
Oh, that's a good one. But White Lotus. That one.
Oh, White Lotus.
Season
Forget
2.
that one.
Here's the thing. Succession changed some of the images in the opening credits, and it's important
Yeah,
to
they do.
watch those. You get little clues,
I like it
little
when
insights.
the little news chyrons change to more and more absurd things. But again, I'm like, haha, I saw it once, I'm done.
Yeah. But man, you
All
see Saracen all grumpy. You see some upcoming scenes from Season 2 in the titles as well. So I think it's worth watching. You should watch it at
I'll
least
watch it
once.
someday.
If this episode was not only football, what was it for you, Zach?
It's literally, it's my first note, which May, if you were here, you'd be able to see.
Damn it.
I'm pulling a May.
Is Brooke Derek?
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe the episode started that way. And I was a little
character
off
names
the
are
whole way.
Jackie and Billy, but sure,
But
why
it's
not?
Brooke and Derek. And I was like, she already... Tim.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Why not? You know, at this point, no slut shaming here.
Nope.
Yeah.
May, if it was not only football, what was it for you?
Well, you know, it wasn't only football. In fact, it was, I just want to take a quick side note here to say, Zach, I am so proud of you. I think your summaries really have just reached peak top notch. I'm like, hell yeah. Talk about a title sequence I don't want to skip. I'm like, this is what I'm signing up for. I want to hear it. I love it. The humor's there. The main points are there. Good job.
A little warm and tingly inside.
You're welcome. I love you. My what this was for me, which is completely is meaningless, but you know, sometimes that's what it is like the whole concept of climbing out a window. Did you guys ever have to do that? You know, because Tyra has to climb out Landry's window.
Oh, my bedroom in high school was the attic of our house, and I would climb out the window, hop down 2 roofs, shimmy down a tree. And I could get back up that way as well. My parents
You did not shimmy up the tree.
Yeah, I used to go rock climbing and hiking so I can shimmy a tree.
Did you know tigers can climb trees?
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
No, really?
Of course he can.
Oh my God. Me actually realizing that you thought that you meant that and then realizing it's the bad tracksuit I'm staring at.
There's a lot of ins and outs of windows in this show. The only time I ever climbed out a window, I never had to do that to sneak out of the house or anything.
Me either.
But in kindergarten and first grade, me and 5 buddies, we were a pretty rowdy group of kids in a little kindergarten in Omaha, Nebraska. And I've got a ton of stories about this little wild pack of kids. We were feral, man. But one of the guys in the group, Justin, he figured out how to open the window in my kindergarten and first grade class. And we would just decide to bounce some days. He'd sit up in the little reading nook. He'd open the window, and then we'd just, pew, we're out, man. Oh. Then the teachers chasing us on the lawn of Fontanelle Elementary in Omaha, Nebraska. Yeah, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so, I never had to climb out windows because my parents were always like, you can just use the door. Like, you don't have to climb out the window. And I was like, okay. Mine was like more like, I would have to like climb, when I was like older, I forgot my keys a lot at my old house. And I feel like it was mostly like trying to climb in windows of my own house. That was like a classic theme, which is also difficult, you know. But it was doable. But yeah, so anyway, I always thought that was like a very classic, like kind of Clarissa Explains It All thing of like climbing in and out of windows. And I didn't know if you guys had to do that or not.
Oh man, Clarissa. Now I just remembered, was it Melissa Joan Hart and she like points at the words as they appear on the screen?
Yes.
I was like, look at this technology we have. It's like she's pointing and words are appearing.
It was so cool.
Little
I was
did
like,
we know what was
I'm never
going
to be this cool. And I'm still not. And I never was.
Let's jump into the beginning of the episode. The cold open, we get a few different storylines that look like they're going to be the focus of the episode. Sneaking out of the window, Tyra at Landry's house. You know, they wake up the next morning.
Morning after, always awkward.
Yeah, she looks at him. She goes to start to say something, and Landry's like, I'm just going to stop you. I know whatever you say is going to be logical and make a ton of sense, but it's going to ruin the best night of my life, so let's just not. But then she climbs out the window, and who's there?
Dad.
Officer Clark, just spying something. He's very suspicious right away. Why is Tyra climbing out of my son's window?
Can we talk about that for a minute? Like, what could it possibly be? It's like, she's not selling him drugs. Like, why?
You don't know that.
It's like, you know why she's there. And he's like, what could the alternative be?
She was selling him drugs, or she had to tell him something upsetting.
So
why is he so suspicious?
I know, and let's just go down this Officer Clark thread real quick. We'll come back to the cold open and pick up a couple of threads, but the whole Tyra and Landry thing is a huge focal point of this episode, and you know he's immediately suspicious because as he says at Applebee's later, shout out to our overall show sponsor Applebee's, when he goes to get the quesadilla burger. No, he orders the quesadilla burger.
Oh, I just was thinking about riblets.
Delicious.
And he says, why are you hanging out with my son? I mean, no offense, but I just don't get it. Obviously, you could date anyone what is it about my son? Like, what is exactly, Zach? Like, is he worried that she's like going to corrupt him?
So
or
here's
like,
the other
what's
thing.
the
Again,
deal?
it's like, well, I mean, this is the thing, and I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to poop on, anything, but it's this murder storyline that they keep trying so hard to resolve and do interesting things, and the performances are great, and it's like, why is he suspicious of Tyra? Like, it's just like, what does he think is going on besides what's going on?
He can smell it.
I know.
He's law enforcement. He can smell a crime from a mile away.
Oh, he knows they probably did something illegal.
He immediately saw her coming out of the window and said,
yeah,
they fucking murdered someone.
I bet they threw a body off a bridge, and I am going to get to the bottom of this.
I mean, the body hasn't even been found at the beginning of the episode when he's already suspicious. You know, it's like, so that's, nobody even knows a crime has been committed besides the two of them. But I do love throughout the course of the episode, you start to get a full picture of Glenn Morshower's character really quickly. Officer Clark seems to be a little bit more than, let's say, the Swede or Coach McGregor, who are just still so 2D to me in this season. But like when Mama Clark comes home with groceries and Landry, and Landry's dad has noticed he doesn't have the watch on. He's in the kitchen. Landry's like trying to change the subject, and he gives him a box of crackers. He's like, Mom got those crackers you really like. And he goes, oh, those are just sin in a box.
Woo! Got him.
Is cholesterol or are they sugary crackers?
I think he's just saying they're really good. I don't like he.
You're right.
But he calls his son Bubba. I mean, you have like all these like little tiny moments that aren't scripted that Glenn Morshower is already like kind of putting into this like father-son relationship we haven't seen until just now, and it's under the stress, like you said, of this murder storyline. But you could see Glenn and Jesse like doing everything they can to like,
yes, God bless,
just establish fully developed characters in the middle of this whole thing. When he asked him about the watch, though, he's like, your grandfather's going to want to see it. Been in the family for 60 years, He's coming to town in 2 weeks.
Very on the nose.
Oh, boy.
Terrible timing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Landry is screwed, and he knows it. But then it leads to a really sweet moment at the pawn shop. They're looking for a watch, and Jesse proclaims to Tyra, I'm going to be implicated when they find the watch on the body.
How did the watch come off? The watch is like pretty on there.
Yeah, we still aren't sure in carrying the body how it got into the man's pocket. I don't know.
It would be funny if when they find the body, it's like on him, like on his wrist.
He was not only a terrible human being who would assault people, he's also a wonderful pickpocket. Just very, very swift.
That's so funny. I forgot because in the first episode when he was like, I can't find my watch, and they go back to the bridge, in my head I was like, he probably wasn't wearing it. Maybe it's just at home somewhere.
He's just paranoid.
Yeah, but they really are going with this. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got to.
But
Gotta
one
do
of my
it.
favorite lines of the episode is in that scene where he says, I will never implicate you. I promise you I will keep you safe from all of this. And she turns to him. Do you remember what she says?
Mm-mm.
Well,
I want to hear you say it.
Yeah.
I always just figured I'd kill you to keep you quiet. She makes a joke about murder in the midst of the murder.
Don't they call
That's
it
right.
gallows humor?
Gallows
That's
humor?
my girl.
Yeah.
That's my girl.
I mean, it's just like they're coping. Not only are Annie and Jesse coping with the storyline they're going through, but the characters are trying to cope with it as well.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you got to.
But anyway, I do. There were some moments, like you said, Zach, that are great in this stuff. Yeah. Tyra shutting Officer Clark down. Your son is kind. He is wonderful. He's generous. He's so intelligent, but you should know that, seeing as that's your son.
She puts him in his place.
Yeah, Tyra, once again, seeing the value in the things that matter. And you know what? Murder or no murder, I'm just excited to get this whole, what are we calling it? Tandry? Lyra?
Have we relationshiped it yet?
Tandry's good, right?
Tandry. I think Lyra is too close to Lila, so I think we got to go with Tandry.
Tandry also just has a little something to it.
Isn't that a word? Oh, I'm thinking of Tawdry.
Tawdry, exactly. See? This is good.
Yeah.
I like that connection.
Hashtag Tandry in the comments section, everybody. Okay, that's pretty much Tandry for you guys this episode. Back to the cold open. Zach's particular, it's not only football, happens in the cold open as Billy and Jackie come walking out of the street across the house, just not hiding anything, making out on the front lawn. How do we think Bo feels about the elder non-football playing Riggins in his house?
We don't see Bo. He doesn't show up.
I know.
I think he's with his dad.
No, but that's messed up.
He's back with his dad?
Yeah.
The horrible man that she's talking about?
I think that Jackie was like, you know what? I'm sleeping with high school kids. This is an inappropriate environment for my child. No slut shaming.
Why wouldn't she keep sleeping with the high school kid if
she's got to figure some things out? And she said, Bo, go stay with your dad while I figure some things out.
Why would you ever, no offense, I love Derek and he's so hot and cool, but like as Billy, I'm like, why would you ever be like, yeah, Billy's the right one here. I'm going to really commit to this Billy.
Well, because as Billy says later, when he walks into the house and, Riggins has passed out at practice. And we'll go through that a little bit. But Billy comes in after all this has happened, and Tim's just taking a couple of days off, drinking beers in the house, as Jason says when he comes to confront him. What, did the doctor prescribe you a couple of 12-packs, Riggins? But Billy walks in and looks at his brother, no shirt on, drinking on the couch. Oh, yeah, another productive day at the office, huh, Tim? And they have that scene where he's like, are you sleeping with Jackie? Well, I mean, sorry, Tim, but you guys weren't going to have a real relationship. Why not? Because you're a 17-year-old boy and she's a 33-year-old woman.
But still, there's bro code. I mean, literal bro.
Yeah.
Like, not like, hey, we're dudes, we're guys. We don't do that. It's like, you're my
like
brother.
brother code.
Yeah.
Look, I'm watching that scene going, Tim, you are so lucky you're not with that chick anymore, man. Like,
That's
just
true.
that particular woman, just nothing but trouble for Tim. I mean, he's got enough on his plate. He can't get out of his own way. He doesn't need to be taking on any other, like, questionable relationships in his life. He needs positive, role models, and I just don't think
He needs to
that
go
Jackie's
hang out
one
with
of them.
Tammy Taylor more.
Yeah, exactly.
Get some therapy.
But he's out there. He's lost. He's adrift. He doesn't have Coach Taylor there for him. Jason is deciding whether he's going to be coach or friend. So Timmy just feels alone
man
right now.
is being the coach, and he's so mean.
He's so mean. He's just so mean. Under review in this scene, they get into fisticuffs. But reading it in the script, I was like, we've seen this scene twice in season 1.
Rewatching it, things work. Some things work.
Well,
Tim and Billy fighting works. I guess they're like, oh, we'll edit it out for time. But, nothing against it. Some of the great scenes we've seen between Julie and Coach, some of them are kind of recycled from other scenes we've seen between Julie and Coach.
Yeah.
Or Julie and her parents where, she says, look, I know I messed up. I know I'm going to be grounded, but can I just, have my feelings right now? Which I love the scenes. But sometimes I'm like, oh, right, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
Well, oh, man. Billy Riggins breaking literal bro code.
Yep. Don't do it.
The Riggins storyline where he passes out on the field running these gassers. In the script, everything McGregor yells at him, by the way, is all scripted. Like, every single name that he calls him a litany of names while he's making him run these gassers. Gassers are where you run from one side of the field to the other horizontally twice, and that's one gasser. And in the script, he's had him run 50 at this point. Practice is run over. McGregor is just such a 2D character. Like you said, the mean man, the mean coach is just doing mean things.
He's terrible, man.
But it leads to some fun stuff. Lila swings by the hospital to check in on Riggins.
She is so Christian.
She's
Christian.
And he calls it as he sees it. He's like, "You here to recruit me?" She's like, "No." 3 minutes later,
want to come,
One other thing I just want to talk about in the hospital real quick. The doctor's like, "You're gonna be all right, Tim. Like, you gotta stop pushing yourself. You gotta stop drinking. You gotta do." He's talking to a 17-year-old kid. They actually say Riggins' age in this episode, 17, and the doctor's like, "But you're gonna be ready for Friday night, right?" Come on.
There it is.
That's this town.
But
even someone who went to
man.
medical school.
Yep.
Down.
But Christ Teen Outreach in the form of Lila invites Riggins to church. And then who picks him up? Who picks him up from the hospital? Oh, yeah.
I got to say, every now and then, just when he hits his lowest of lows, he does something good.
He pops over, jumps in.
I really liked him in this episode.
Do the writers do the best job with any character on the show of balancing Buddy? Is he the one that, like you said, they will sink him and then he will buoyantly pop back up to the surface and you root for this man who is so incredibly flawed? Is it the writers? Is it Brad? Is it the combination of the two?
It's got to be the combination.
Got to be combo. Because Brad is he could charm the pants off of, what wears
somebody
pants?
Who wears multiple pants.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Which I feel like it would be easier because they're like, I got a couple pairs of pants on, so sure, yeah, take a pair off.
Might
I
as
still
well,
have 2 more
right?
on.
No harm done.
Whatever. It's like the easiest person I could charm that person.
That person's dying to take those pants off.
Yeah, they're hot. It's uncomfortable.
He could sell oecianside property to somebody in Arizona. There you go.
There you go.
Great song.
Multiple pants.
Multiple pants. He can really charm the pants off somebody with 4 pairs of pants on.
I only wore all these because I was hoping someone would charm me.
Here comes Buddy, ready to go.
Apartments.com has helped millions of renters find their perfect places. And the beauty is, they're all different. None of us are the same. Newsflash. So, why should our homes be? Someone may want hardwood floors. Someone else may say carpet all the way. It's a questionable call, but hey, to each their own. Some may want a doorman. Others may say, I can open the door my dang self. But Apartments.com has all the right tools to help you find the place that's uniquely perfect for you. Sort through and filter listings by amenities and make sure you never miss out with the Instant Alert option. With more than 1 million available units for rent, you are sure to find the place that's right for you. So, whether you're looking for a place with a basement, a yard, a pool, or anything in between, Apartments.com has got you covered. Visit Apartments.com, the place to find a place.
There's one thing all great teams, coaches, players, even podcasters have in common, and that is preparation. Planning is key in everyday life as well. And a great way to be prepared for the unexpected is to join Air Medcare Network, America's largest air ambulance membership network. Air Medcare Network providers operate state-of-the-art helicopters capable of responding to critically ill or injured patients in need of emergency medical transport, whether you're at home, on the field of play, or out and about. But when you're an AMCN member, you won't see a bill for your flight only when flown by one of their providers. That's right. You pay nothing. Join Air Medcare Network's more than 3 million members. It's just $99 a year. And right now, our listeners get up to an $80 MasterCard or Amazon e-gift card when they join and use offer code FNL. Make sure the Air Medcare Network team is protecting your family and your finances now. Visit airmedcarenetwork.com/FNL today. That's airmedcarenetwork.com/FNL. Be prepared. Get free stuff. Win-win.
It's Not Only Football is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Yo, whether you love true crime or comedy, celebrity interviews, news, or even motivational speakers, you call the shots on what's in your podcast queue, right? And guess what? Now you can call the shots on your auto insurance too. Enter the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. The Name Your Price tool puts you in charge of your auto insurance by working just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, then they'll show you a variety of coverages that fit within your budget, giving you options. Now that's something you'll want to press play on. It's easy to start a quote, and you'll be easy to choose the best option for you, fast. It's just one of the many ways you can save with Progressive Insurance. Quote today at Progressive.com to try the Name Your Price tool for yourself and join the over 29 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Anyway, I get. I do love that in the car. He's obviously Buddy is got an angle, and we don't quite know what it is this early in the episode. But he's talking to Riggins in the car, and he's like, "You've been through a traumatic experience."
Oh, yeah.
I really need Mae to do this because she's better at Brad than me. But he's like, "You've been through such a traumatic experience. He overworked you. He forced you to pass out." And Riggins is like, "I'm pretty sure I was just hungover." And he's like, "No, son, I've seen you play hungover."
Yeah, that was my favorite part.
He's like, I don't care about the hangover, son.
It doesn't matter.
Right. I've seen that. It doesn't matter. It's this coach.
It's this coach. Just,
I don't believe you were sober during that game. You scored 8 touchdowns.
it was such a joy, though, to see like Buddy get back to work. Right? He's been ostracized. He's not like as big of a part of the boosters. He's not able to be at practice. So we haven't gotten Buddy in that way. But man, it was good to see those gears start turning
love
again.
in the last couple episodes, the kind of the growth of the relationship between Buddy and Riggo. From what they were in season 1 when he hated him, except for when he played football, to now, he's carrying Buddy home when he's drunk and passed out. He's picking him up at the hospital. And it's just like, it's kind of like the Tyra, Landry, Tandria thing. It's, how do we put these two amazing characters together?
Tutty.
Biggins?
Tutty. Biggins? I like Biggins.
Biggins.
Hashtag Tandry, hashtag Biggins. I love it. I love this all. I love seeing the two of them get to work together because they literally are so fantastic together. But the evolution of that relationship, Tim just so desperately looking for a father figure and kind of finding it in Buddy is really funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both kind of like in the same, they're always kind of seen as like ups, and they're always kind of pushed off to the side, and like they can't get it together and stuff. So it's kind of cute that they're like, let's just be ups together,
Exactly. Someone's trying to clean Timmy up, though, and that is Lila. What do we think about?
I wrote, Riggo in church, I feel uncomfortable.
Well, I want to talk about this because I really do. Okay.
Here we go.
Riggins. So whereas Buddy always has an angle, and it made me so excited to see Buddy. Like, I'm like, ooh, what is the angle that Buddy's playing at now? I was like, is he going to try and get the coach fired 3 episodes into the season? This seems so early, but it was so exciting to me. But with Riggins, he goes to the church. I feel like he is lost and feeling alone and not heard, and he's just searching for something. And he goes to church, and when he shows up in Lila's bedroom, which he didn't sneak through a window, Buddy Jr.
That's
just
my
let
boy.
him in.
Yeah. Good old BJ.
But he shows up, Buddy Jr., everyone. Listen. But he shows up in the room, and when he's saying, I felt something, I believe that Riggins actually did.
Yeah, but it wasn't spiritual. He felt something. He felt connected to Lila, and he felt like, oh, there's something there. There's someone who believes in me.
I think he had a spiritual moment, but he doesn't know how to convey it.
But it's also like, that's kind of my whole, obviously I'm not religious, namaste, to each their own, but I'm like, it's like there is something that's bound to happen when you're like around, it's like about community. And there's like this moment of like all these people sort of, letting their guard down and being open and vulnerable and being like all together. I mean, it's like, of course, especially somebody who's like usually alone in his dark room, like with his brewskis, it's like, of course he's going to be like, whoa, I'm overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying?
And it's easy because, if you go to a sporting event, you can sit and watch football on your couch, but it's just so much better when you're there, or a concert, all of those things. Church can kind of be the same way. And that church that they're at is called Promised Land. It's like a mega church in Austin. And the reverend up there, the pastor is actually the bishop of Promised Land. He's actually
the real life guy.
Yeah, the real life guy, Kenneth Phillips. And he's up there just, the sermon very clearly pointed at Riggins, or you could take it that way.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like he got wrapped up in it all. But then when he's in the bedroom, the line comes out of him. The line comes out of him. I just feel closer to God when I'm with you.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh, I've heard that one before.
Yeah.
Have
Old
you?
line in the
Wait.
book. No.
Oh.
Thank God I haven't, but I like might as well have. You know what I'm saying?
Wait
Imagine.
a minute.
No,
Wait.
he saw that in a movie,
Totally.
and he thought he'd use it on Lila.
I do feel like he went there just with the intent to like say thank you and like let her know that he really did feel something, but then
But he's obsessed with her. He can't help it.
He's in love with her.
Okay.
That's what it is. I mean, I think the two wires got crossed, but I think he did feel something in that room, and he's looking for something. He's looking to become better, and he just doesn't know how. He doesn't have anybody there to help him. I don't know.
Yeah, and he thinks by being with Lila, that will make him better.
It'll fix the problems, which we all know.
Yeah, you gotta find your sense of self.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Mama Ru says, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love someone else? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Thank you.
Someone
That's
else
it.
trying to improve another
Zach.
character on the show, whether we like it or not, is a new addition to the Saracen household, Carlotta.
You guys,
Really?
if you aren't watching, Mae just mean mugged me for like
You
30
can't
seconds.
not say amen if RuPaul asks you to say amen. Like it puts you on like a list. If you
I didn't know RuPaul asked me.
Saracen is an atheist. We have to move on.
It doesn't matter. You just
Amen,
it's all about
amen.
loving yourself. There it is.
Amen.
Thank you.
But Carlotta,
I can take you
the
off
new
the list.
addition to the Saracen household, really starts to dig in here. We get a couple more scenes with interactions between you and Carlotta.
Yeah, I tried
Doesn't
to.
she like rub your shoulder?
Yeah,
That's
because it was sore. That's at the end. But I tried to charm her into doing my laundry, which
Yes.
was just like a bad move. And also, I don't remember what is with this season. All these high school kids like hooking up with older
Charming
people.
the elders.
Yeah, I mean, she talks about the fact that, like, where she's from, what she does, the education that she's received. I mean, obviously her mid-20s, right?
I mean, she's got to be.
I mean, she's been through nursing school. I do love, though, that she is trying to improve the household and trying to make sure that your grandma is taken care of in the best way possible.
100.
And she is butting heads with you. I love you come home and you're like, hey, I'm starting to notice a pattern here. My socks aren't getting washed. I need my
I was so mad at myself.
Yeah, that's
I'm so mad at Saracen. Like, she's not a maid.
But then
No,
he
what a
does put on a little charm because she says, no, here's the deal. Here's who I am. My father's an engineer. My mother is an educator. I came to this country, put myself through school so that I can help people. And your response is, well, doing laundry kind of helps people, doesn't it? And you say it in such like this.
I know. I thought it was so clever. I thought I was like,
May,
gotcha.
reaction to
And
the
she
line.
was like, no.
Yeah.
She was like, shut up.
But then she watches me play football.
And she's like, well, now you have a massage. And of course you're attracted to like, I mean, you say, oh, why are these teens, whatever. It's like, she's like a beautiful caretaker. She's probably a Cancer in the zodiac. She's a beautiful kind of like maternal loving caretaker. And you're like, you know, where's your mom? I don't know. But like, you're having that weird like complex where you're like, mommy.
No,
But you're
I'm
also
like,
attracted
wow,
to
this
her.
woman is beautiful.
That last scene is pretty. I mean, look, man. If we're going to be building a relationship between Saracen and Carlotta, that last scene is pretty great and like as a building block like towards the relationship. You get in a huge fight with Smash at the football game. The football game. Football is so secondary in the second season of Friday Night Lights.
Like, we finally got a football. Like, I was like, oh my God, I actually missed football.
Yeah, but I mean,
it was
who
exciting
cares?
to have a game.
Like, really, nobody gives a shit about Coach McGregor. Like, he does the same shit at practice all the time. So, like, going into the game, we're not as hyped. The stakes don't seem as high. We play the South Millbank Rattlers. They're based on San Marcos. Thank you very much.
Have we played them before?
Yes, we have. You would never know it, though, because they don't even say South Millbank. I had to go research who the Rattlers were. You hear the Rattlers once. But, I mean, the game is super unexciting. It like some of them are, especially always to Zach. He doesn't find the games interesting at all, really.
What? What are you talking about?
You always say, you're like, the football just whatever.
No, yeah. I mean, no, that's exciting. And
Smash
fun.
scores a winning touchdown. The whole there have been so many scenes in the scripts of you and Smash like going at each other for the first 3 episodes that we have not seen in the episodes. But Zach, your character finally just blows up and tries to beat Smash up at the end of the game.
Well, I think I'm scapegoating him for getting dumped by Julie and everything else that's going on, taking it all out on Smash, which isn't right. He's my buddy.
Are you sure? Because, like, you know,
I think.
I don't know. He hasn't acted like your buddy. Actually, you know what? No, I take that back because there's a number of times where you and Smash have discussions, you know, where you're clearly upset with him. But yeah, I think you're right. It's not about him. And Smash is like, look, man, it's my senior year.
Yeah.
Like, this is my time. Like, next year's your year. Like, just support me as a friend.
Smash isn't doing anything different than he's ever done.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He's just being the Smash. And you just can't stand it. You just can't stand that someone is able to just be who they are. And it's a confident little, I get what I want. And you're like, I want Julie. I can't get it. I want football. I can't get it.
So what I should have done is gone and beat up the Swede.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would have been justified.
Sometimes you just have to ask yourself, WWRD, what would Riggins do?
That's right.
Yeah. Speaking of the Swede.
Yeah.
Oi.
I mean,
with the Swede.
This guy.
The hair. I'm sorry.
The
you
fan.
like the hair? You don't? No, you don't like the hair. It's 2,
Please.
period.
Don't insult me.
I don't know.
By asking me if I like that hair.
How are you supposed to root for Julie and the Swede to be a thing? Like, I think this is why so many people have so many problems with, like, the Julie storyline in season, because the Swede, there hasn't been an ounce of, like, redeeming qualities in this guy shown. He's so condescending. He calls her kid all the time.
Well, I don't think we're supposed to be rooting for this storyline. I think the reason why the storyline is there is we all go through this phase, experience, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And we all, Saracen isn't likable when he's beating up Smash for no reason. Julie might not be likable when she's not even unlikable. It's just like, it's a part of our lives where we learn and it's not pretty.
Yeah. She needs to try. She can't just be with the one guy that she's been with her entire life who's like, I'm a good boy, which is you, which I guess, even though you ask other people to wash your socks. But she's like, she needs to experiment. She needs to see, how are you going to know what you want if you don't know what you don't want?
I mean, I think we've all had a significant other at some point in our life, probably high school, who was a great partner, but then it got a little boring and you saw something shiny and new and different. And you went for that. And then you're like, oh, What did I do?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But ultimately you couldn't have stayed because eventually you would have been like, I don't know what this other thing is. And it's so interesting. You know what I'm saying? Just
when I thought I couldn't like the Swede less, after the first 2 episodes, patting Julie on the head and being like, all right, kid, have a great life. Like, she goes to his house and we meet all of his friends and they sit there smoking pot and sharing conspiracy theories. I'm like, this was the most painful scene I have watched in this series. hands down.
Really?
Tell me
Period.
everything about it. that
Well,
you liked.
I didn't. Sorry, May, I cut you off. I didn't
No.
love this scene, but I mean, again, we've all been there. We've all been in college or after high school, and we just hang out being idiots.
Listen, I'm usually fighting for things to stick around in the script. This is a scene I would not have hated if
You're
it
like,
would have
no.
just
We had to
disappeared.
put it under review.
Yeah, we had that in Parenthood. I remember there were a couple scenes where we're supposed to be drinking or smoking weed and hanging out and stuff. And I remember it was Larry Trilling, our producer director, who was always there with us, was so helpful, where he was this is one scene we really don't want that. Do you guys ever think about Bob Dylan? No offense. But it was so we Miles and I
He's
came
artistic.
up with a
It's
bunch
like
of
Bob
weird
Dylan.
stuff. We came up with a whole thing of where we're really stoned, and then our mom keeps calling us and we're oh my God, what if someone's dead? What if grandpa's dead? We're just around if you were actually high and paranoid. And, we were able to do a scene where we're at the dinner being stoned, and we're trying to put asparagus into each other's mouth. There's it was fun because it was actual stoner and drinking humor, as opposed to kind of the classic, let's strum a couple tunes, man. You know what I mean?
Well, it's kind of, I mean, you said it a little bit with McGregor a little bit. I think people coming onto the show season 2, most people aren't used to working that way and being right. It's a bunch of us in a house. We can make it I know what this is like in real life. They're someone wrote words for me. I'm going to do it. And Seath was an amazing director, but this was his first episode with us. So if it's a bunch of actors who don't know how to take the reins, he's probably going to be cool, let's do what's written.
I think maybe those scenes are just tough to pull off. It feels that way as an actor. Every time I've had to do a scene like that, it feels tough, and you kind of are just I got to shake that one off. Can we do something better? And it's just maybe it's tough for directors, writers. I mean, it's tough for the whole thing to show the youthful mind of stoned kids. I don't know, man. But he just sucks in every way. And then they're just him and Julie are just macking down out in front of the Taylor household. Oof. When did you? And by the way, skeevy ass van. He's always
I've
wet.
been there.
He's always wet. What the? Did this guy just ugh? I can't stand the Swede.
A van is good when you need to go back there. But I'm just bro, why would you ever park in front of your parents' house? The whole point of a neck moment before you return home is you go to the little street down the thing. Or I had a spot, I'd be before we go home, go left here. There's a spot. There's no houses. It's dark. There's a view. You have to have that. You can't go in front of your parents' house.
Quick pause. Did you say necking?
Yeah.
Is this the 60s?
Yes.
Cool. Look,
It
if
is.
you can go together in Chicago, you can neck.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
In California.
Go together.
I used to neck with the girl I goed with.
Somebody who also has just a very, very strong reaction against the Swede and Julie is Tammy. We've got to get into one of the more impactful scenes.
Tammy's tense.
Yeah, one of the more impactful scenes that I've seen this season when Tammy forcefully rips Julie out of the van. She knows her mother is upset. The necking is happening. She's I'm not getting out of the car. Take me somewhere. The Swede's that would be kidnapping. I'm not taking you anywhere.
One sensible thing he's done.
I very quickly
literally
went from laughing at that line to just gasping. Audibly, I think, in my house. When Tammy slaps Julie, I'm you can't take it back.
NBC loves a slap. They do.
Yeah, no, I didn't get slapped by my mom or my dad, but I have been slapped by people, and I deserved it.
I bet.
I deserved it. Did Julie deserve it in this moment?
Oh my God. No.
No?
A slap from a parent. I personally
I don't condone.
I do not condone the physical violence of it all. I get it. I get the inclination. I get the frustration. I can't imagine. I don't have children, but I personally, I grew up in a very non ever physical violent thing. So luckily I was privileged in that way.
But in this moment, Tammy is saying, I am still your mother. You are not rid of me yet. And just because she has Gracie, Coach Taylor is not there, she needs Julie. And Julie is just not there for her mom in any way, shape, or form. And then you get the truth of the matter from Julie's perspective with the line, "You got rid of me the moment you had Gracie Bell and Dad left town."
Wow.
Like,
Yeah, see, now we start to feel for Julie, everything that's going on with her. There's a lot on her plate, and no one's really talking to her about it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel for both of them. There is not a reconciliation scene, but there is an aftermath scene when Tammy drives Julie to school the next morning in the script under review, where, she's just getting the silent treatment and Tammy just lays it out all on the line. And she does apologize for the physicality of it, but she does not apologize for, being so completely unable to understand why Julie has pulled herself out of the Taylor family so severely. I know your dad is gone. I know we have a new baby in the house. We are not replacing you. For you to think that is what is happening is ridiculous to me. And it kind of is ridiculous to me, too.
It's not ridiculous at all. I think Tammy needs to take a long look in the mirror.
She should sit.
And she needs, this is a high school kid. This is a little girl. She needs her mom. She needs her mom who's we talked about it. My mom was the worst social worker with me. No offense, Mom. I love you. Even though she was a great social worker with the kids she worked with, it's so hard to get to see. Like, I think Tammy's being a little myopic and focusing on the baby.
Cool word, bro. I like
myopic.
that. And I think you're right.
Yes, Saracen in the conversation with Smash in the parking lot says inequity. And Smash says, "Stop bringing out all the $10 words, Saracen." And now we've got myopic coming out of Zach. I felt for Tammy, though, when she comes clean to Coach and she tells him,
"Oh, that was rough."
The Coach just holds her, and it's just the two of them being there for each other. But it's just like, what do you say if you're Coach? There's nothing you can say. You see the immense amount of contrition that Tammy feels.
Oh,
for
100%. Look, we all make mistakes, and you feel bad about them.
Yeah. Coach Taylor is in that scene, but we get some good news at the end of the episode, and I think I speak for every single fan of the show when Buddy Garrity, who has been plotting all episode long to get rid of Coach McGregor, right?
Dreams do come true.
Yeah, baby. It's about damn time.
He calls Coach up while Coach is still at TMU and is like, "Hey, we need to talk, Eric. We need to get together, okay?" He's like, "What do you
meet you halfway?
What do you want to talk about? If I tell you, you're just not going to want to come." Well, then why would I come if you've already told me that I'm not going to like what you have to say? But Buddy really lays into Coach.
Oh my God! The first year of your baby's life, she's never going to see her daddy. I wrote, Buddy, like back off, Buddy.
Hey man, he'll use any tool in the shed, man.
He's a car salesman.
Will.
He says, "I've seen your wife. She's got that other guidance counselor running around. She's unhappy.
Oh, yeah.
She's overwhelmed. I've seen your daughter wearing things she shouldn't be wearing."
Ooh, low blow. Just because your daughter's at church all the time, don't throw stones.
Yeah. You don't know who's
him.
climbing in and out of her window, buddy.
Yeah.
I thought Coach was going to speaking of physicality, I thought Coach was going to get a little physical with Buddy in that scene, but
He was fuming.
Towards the end of the episode, Coach has been through a lot, has to let a kid go off the football team. Stuff like that doesn't really matter. The TMU storyline I don't care about, but he calls at the end and says,
neither did the audience.
Yeah, neither did the writers,
that.
apparently.
Yeah.
We couldn't even have TMU in the end zone. It just said Texas State. Sure, why not? But when Coach Taylor comes and knocks on the car dealership door to let him know, "Okay, buddy, let's go ahead with this plan." Buddy wakes up from his desk, looks out the window, sees Coach, and goes, "Yes!" And I was like, that's the feeling of every Friday Night Lights fan here right now.
I thought Adam brought up an interesting point, though, our producer Adam, because when he said something about like how literally everything is falling apart because Coach Taylor isn't there, like it literally feels like, it is sort of part of bolstering that romanticized view of him, which is like, this town is a mess because you're gone. Can you come back and fix it? You know what I mean? So it's like, look, I agree with it. He is the glue that's holding it all together. But I'm like, it's an interesting thing to notice, I think.
Yeah.
That's book club stuff right there.
Yes, ma'am. It sure is.
And that's what I'm here for. I'm the voice of the Book Club of Americas and beyond.
Cool.
You didn't know?
I'm the voice of Book Clubs of America.
I have
and
a
beyond.
shirt. I'll wear it next time.
I love it.
So the last storyline we haven't really hit on is Street.
Last but not least.
No, that's why we saved it for last. We saved the best for
Because
last.
it's not least.
It's kind of least. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the point is, the best storyline, we get Street's back at Murderball. He sees Herc. He talks to him about his plan to get some shark cells injected into himself. I mean, talk about a harebrained plan. And Herc kind of, I love when he's like, anyone's going to take advantage of you because you're right around that. It's a year. His whole speech, it's a perfect Herc speech, and it's like you're getting to that point where your hand moved or whatever, and you got a little bit of hope, and there are so many people who are going to take advantage of you in any way they can to take any money from you, and he can't even get through to you.
No, and that's going to be a recurring theme, I think, for Street for a little while, is that no one's really going to get through to Street. Street has put his mind to something, and I wish his mind would have stayed on being a football coach, but McGregor makes that almost impossible, It's just like...
Ugh, when he calls you a mascot.
In the game. So much happens to Street in this episode. I mean, you see Street being a great coach, and I was so excited to do that, and then they rip it away from me so quickly. I was so excited. People, like when everybody's coming out on the field, and I'm like, everybody pick it up, jog, Saracen, you too. Red jersey means, red jersey doesn't mean you're exempt from running. But you see him like coaching everybody up. He's like, Bradley, we told you to lose the baby fat over the summer, which, by the way, it says Pudnick in the script under review. I'm like, they really wanted to keep Pudnick alive. But you see it all happening, and Coach comes up to him, Coach McGregor, and he's like, hey, I need you to get Riggins on his A game. Can you do that? And I say, yeah, of course, which is one of, 3 trips to Riggins' front door in this episode for Street. But he calls me Coach, and in that moment, you see, Street is... so excited.
That's what you want to be. And like you finally are feeling like a coach and you're getting called a coach. And it sounds so stupid coming out of my mouth, but it's like when you get someone's finally seeing you the way you want to be seen. And it's so clear. It's like, yes, like I'm doing it.
Yeah. And he goes and he's got a bone to pick with Riggins. But this is another storyline that every scene has been pulled out in the first couple of episodes. There's been a lot of this. Are you my friend or are you my coach between Riggins and Street in the scripts? They never made it to the episodes, but it's perfect because Riggins says it all in 2 lines in this scene, this first one when I show up at his house, which, by the way, I want that 1978 Dillon Panthers state championship shirt that Riggins is wearing in that scene.
You didn't steal it?
No, it was his.
You should be able to have that.
It was his to steal.
Well, no, but it was. Okay, did anyone else clock, and maybe I clocked it wrong, when he opens the door, which you had to throw like a bottle at because there's a little step, and so obviously you can't wheel up it, and he kind of gestures, is like, you want to come in? Like what a rude, mean thing to say.
Well, the first time I go there, I'm screaming Riggins at him, and it starts out I'm like, Timmy, open the door, and then he opens the door, and I tell him he's a screw up. He says, you need to make a choice, and you should choose friend because you suck at being a coach.
Damn.
And then then I call him Tim, and then at the end I'm calling him,
Timothy?
It's not Timmy anymore, it's not Riggins anymore, it's Tim. You're an asshole, Tim. But the second time I came, I remember that scene. We were like, how's he going to wake him up? And we wanted them to have some distance between them in that big scene where I tell him, I'm leaving to go to Mexico. But we were going to honk the horn, but it was just Street's too far away. We couldn't figure it out. And then Reiner, even though he didn't direct this episode, Reiner was around a lot.
Yeah.
And Reiner's like, why don't you just throw this bottle at him? But it wasn't a prop bottle. It was an actual beer bottle. That's why, it shatters.
Oh, really?
Like it's usually you have a prop bottle, but we didn't have one on hand, so we just threw a real beer bottle, and it actually, I had one shot at hitting that door. If I miss, that's gonna literally break a window. So yeah, I toss a real beer bottle at the door.
I love that because it's almost as it probably was just in the lawn and you picked it up on your way.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, found it down the street, just laying in somebody's front lawn. We're like, all right, let's go. That scene is a lot of fun to watch because I just remember this is when I really start to get working with Taylor again, which I've missed for a long time. And him and I just love working with Taylor because, and I'm sure you had the same experience, he's just so free with it all. And he's so good at being Riggins. He's so, like, it's in his bones, man.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just so easy to work with somebody like that and go back and forth. And he just allows you to play because you know he's always going to be there. Like, Taylor Kitsch is always going to catch you if you're improvising, you're ad-libbing, you're getting off the script. And he's a very generous actor, and I love working with the guy. So, you know, I tell him how disappointed I am, which is I was so hard on myself at that screen, and watching it back, the scene, I say disappointed. It's scripted that I'm supposed to say disgusted, and I misspoke, and I said and you're disappointing, and you're disgusting. Like, I tried to correct myself, hoping the editors would, but they kept the whole take, and they even keep me like misspeaking and saying the line wrong. And I'm watching it back as an actor going, oh, God.
I didn't even catch it.
But as a viewer, I'm like, oh, yeah, this makes sense. Like, you don't always...
I love those. Sometimes the mistakes are, like, the coolest part. Like, you know that part in Almost Famous where, like, Patrick Fugit, she says, like, you want to go to Morocco or whatever? And he's like, ask me again. And she's like, do you want to come with me to Morocco or whatever? And it's like, it turns out that was actually him, Patrick Fugit, being like, I fucked up the line. Ask me again. Like, he was asking for the cue again. But the way that it played was like he was so excited to hear her ask him that question that Cameron Crowe kept it in.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
I know.
But, you know, Street finally makes the decision. And I think it was really McGregor calling him a mascot at the end of the game. Because Street had all the right play calls for the game. Everything that he was saying was right. And McGregor still squeaks out a win. But, man, the fact that he said, I don't need to take coaching advice from the team mascot. Like, you can tell that coach has been waiting to say that to him for forever.
And it also just makes it land that, when he calls you coach, it's really just because he knows that's what you want to hear, and he wants you to go do him a favor, and he knows you're probably not going to do him any favors.
Yeah. But, I'm going to Mexico, and then as I'm wheeling away, you hear Timmy go, Mexico, huh, Street? And a road trip will happen. Woo!
Woo!
Very, very excited. It's a crazy storyline, but it was so exciting for me as an actor, and I can't wait to talk more about it. That's going to do it for the recap portion. We're going to move into overtime. Mae, do you have an overtime today?
My overtime is related to you, which is just that Adam said that the sit-down counter was 1. So we need to add that. Sit down. The coach saying, sit down.
Oh,
so we need to add that to the list.
Okay, I will put it in there. That's an overtime / press box. That's pretty great. My overtime is while I am coaching the team in my one moment of glory where Street is flying high. I say the line, and none of that was scripted. That was just the director and Reiner. That was Seath and Reiner saying, "Hey, Scott, just like ad-lib some like peppy stuff for practice." I say the line, you get better or you get worse every day. Let's try to get a little better today. That was my high school coach's motto. Coach Mike Bisceglia from Lake Howell High School in Winter Park, Florida. That's what he used to always say to us. And so it was really cool that I got to put it into the episode. So I was so happy that that particular line made it. That was really cool.
A little art imitating life.
Yeah. And the other thing is you see Jason spraying himself with the water bottle after Murderball practice. And I know that a lot of people have questions about like, why did Street always spray himself with the bottle? It's because when you're paralyzed, your skin also doesn't do all the jobs that it's supposed to do. And it's to keep your body temperature in check. It's to keep your body temperature down. And the fact that Friday Night Lights wanted to use that, we're deep in season 2 now, and they're still showing stuff like that, means that they never really gave up on making sure that we had such an honest and realistic look at what it would be like to be living with the injury that Jason has. So all props to the writers and the show for continuing, even in the midst of crazy storylines, to show real, honest parts of Jason Street's life. Any overtime, Zach?
Oh, no, I was.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. We're not going to do any press box. We haven't had a lot of questions about season 2. So if you have them out there, make sure that you're tossing them into the comments section of YouTube, the rate and review section over at Apple Podcasts, and we will get to them. And we're looking forward to conversing with y'all further about season 2. What a wild ride we are on. Can't wait to continue it next week with
Viva Mexico!
episode 4. Yeah, we're taking a trip to Mexico. And the week after that, we're going to have a long conversation with a very good friend of ours, Minka Kelly. So that's some of what is coming up on It's Not Only Football Friday Night Lights and Beyond. We'll see you next Thursday. And until we do, on behalf of Zach and May, we say clear eyes.
Full hearts.
Can't lose.
Oh, can we write a song with the lyrics? Can we?
I already did, baby.
Woo! Peace, everybody.
Bye.